once again, watchers of good TV. My name is Nick Pell, and this is once again coming from my white room. Now, today I'm going to talk about Season 2 of Orange is the New Black. So, obviously, this will have spoilers from Season 1, so if you have not seen Season 1, probably don't watch this unless you don't care about spoilers. Also, I'll be talking about bits and pieces of Season 2, obviously, in this review, so there will be maybe minor things spoiled for you, but nothing really too heavily dramatic. I will also be talking about the ending of the season towards the end of this video. So, if you have finished Season 2 and you want to hear my thoughts on it and maybe discuss it in the comments down below, you can do that as well. So Season 2 begins right essentially where Season 1 leaves off. Kind of. Season 2 opens up with Piper Chapman in solitary confinement for beating the snot out of Penn's Kentucky, and she is released from this confinement. She is sent into Chicago and put into this other prison system. She has no idea what's happening. She doesn't know why she's being transferred to this new facility. She thinks that she has killed Penn's Kentucky, but she quickly finds out that she has not. She has just seriously injured the person, and the only reason that she is there is to stand trial against the drug dealer that she got sent to prison for moving drugs for in the first place. Alex Voss is also there. So Alex tries to get Piper to lie so that she can get her freedom. Things end up going awry though. Piper does do this, and then Alex tells the truth. Alex gets released. Piper goes back to Litchfield. And so there's a lot of tension there for a lot of the season. But the only thing that kind of worried me in the first two episodes, because the first episode is just Piper, second episode is just the rest of the inmates in Litchfield. I thought that for a good chunk of the season it was just going to be a big back and forth between the two. It's like, oh, one episode we see Piper, one episode we see the prisoners, and we don't see any more interaction. This thankfully does not happen. Piper goes back to the prison in the third episode, and then it's all kind of the same interactions and characters that we know and love. Same with this season, we see a lot of backstories. We see more backstories and kind of additional backstories to the ones that we've already seen. One of the first ones that we see is Tasty's, and this is where we are introduced to V, who becomes the central antagonist of this season. She is this woman who raised Tasty. She is a big high-time criminal, and she ends up in prison with Tasty and essentially forms her own army of other inmates to stand against Red. And Red, at this point, has lost her kitchen. She has been kind of lowered in terms of status. She doesn't really have the same type of power that she used to have, at least that we saw in Season 1. We do get to see another flashback from Red, though, which I really like. We get to see her in the opening days of her time at Litchfield, and that's really interesting seeing that type of Red compared to the one that we know who actually is strong and knows what she's doing in this place. But like I said, we get to see other inmates' flashbacks in terms of their past lives before the prison, and seeing things lead up to where they are now. And it's, as always, it's really, really interesting. And so I really like that. The characters are all pretty interesting. There's not really any introduction of new characters, just for the fact that there's not really a need. The only real new one is V. We do see the corruption within the prison system become a really delicate thing. Another new character is So-So. She becomes kind of a rebel against the corruption within the prison system and the lack of good facilities that they have in this place. She kind of becomes a force against that. She's also a new character. And that becomes kind of one of the central themes of the show, is the corruption within the prison system. The fact that while these people are criminals and they have done horrendous acts in some cases, they are still people and they are still human beings, and they still do deserve basic facilities and basic human rights. And so it's just kind of a big push for that. We see Healy, who at the end of the first season I thought was going to be a big jerk, to put it lightly, who's going to be one of the more antagonistical people in this season. He ends up kind of repenting for what he did. He tries to do some good. We never see a flashback of Healy. I really want to see this. I want to see him when he first started at the prison, seeing the guy who tried to do good and then ended up just falling from that and realizing that it's very difficult to do any good. He does try, though. He tries to set up a community group called Safe Place where people can express their feelings and their opinions. he tries to be the counselor that he wanted to be. And that's kind of actually somewhat admirable, and I really did like to see that from him during this season, and we get to see him try to basically revert back to being a good, half-decent human being. So yeah, that's my thoughts on Season 2 of Orange is the New Black. Did I like it? I really, really loved it. To be honest with you, it's a really good 13 episodes. The season finale is 90 minutes, which they didn't really have to do, but I really loved that they did, and it didn't really seem all that long at all. There wasn't like they were stretching anything out or just doing it for the sake of putting in more content. I thought the 9 minutes was very sufficient, and it worked really well. That being said, if you have not seen Season 2 of Orange is the New Black, I highly recommend that you do so. This is where I'll be talking about the ending of Season 2, so if you have not seen it, obviously do not continue past this point. Like, favorite, comment, and subscribe. If you so choose, I'd appreciate it immensely. So this is mainly talking about the season finale. At the end of the penultimate episode, we see a prison lockdown. We see the lines being drawn between Red and V. We see the past that these two individuals have, and we see the reason behind Red's essentially like very cautionistic take versus V. We see how terrible this person can be too when we see her flashback, where she basically has a guy that she raised from a child to a man who she just slept with get killed by a corrupt police officer. It was just really dark, and she needs to be taken out. But this is where we open it. V has basically put Red in the hospital, so we don't really see a whole lot of Red. She still has her ways about her. She's talking with the nun who's on the hunger strike, and those conversations are really kind of interesting. We see the corrupt assistant warden finally get booted out. She was really annoying me for a while. She is a person who doesn't care at all about the prison itself. She just tries to get as much for herself done as possible. I'm pretty sure there's probably more to it than that, maybe. It'll be interesting to see how the new guy does, and see if he can not revert to being a bad human being. John goes in, he goes to confess that he is the father of this child. The new guy, he just doesn't care at this point. He doesn't want anything bad happening, and of course everything does go bad in this episode. V escapes when it's finally revealed that she is the person who attacked Red. Her girls basically gang up on her. They confess that it was V who attacked Red. And then we see Rosa. Rosa is someone who I grew to really enjoy as a character this season, because we get to see her way more than we did in the first season. We see her backstory. We see how she kind of ended up where she is. And then we see her interact with the guy in the hospital, and she's just a really cool human being. And then the season finale, she finds out she only has a few more weeks to live. And then during the lockdown, she's able to just book it out of there. And I'm getting to the end of the episode, obviously. But she's booking it out of there, playing the music. She sees V, who was just a really mean human being, and she knows this. And the only real vendetta that she has against V is the fact that she took her seat at the lunch table, and then Rosa called her a very rude woman. This is probably the best way to kill off V, honestly. She hits her with the car, V's dead. She keeps driving off, and she just says she was so rude. And it's just great. I love that so much. Season finale was great. I thought it did everything that I really wanted it to. It brought closure to a lot of different things. I thought that was interesting that Polly and Larry are now together. I did not see that coming when it originally happened. I thought that something would happen with the husband, which would kind of tear them apart, or she would have second-guessing reactions, or what. But I think it's kind of going to be an interesting scenario for Piper to get used to, at least. And I mean, I think it'll work fine. I'm sure there's still going to be difficulties that arise in Season 3, but I'm looking forward to Season 3. I don't know how long the show will go, to be honest, just because I don't know how long the book is. I have not read the book, and I have no desire to read the book until the show is done, just because I don't want things spoiled for me. I don't want to know who lives, who dies, who fails and rises. I don't want to know any of this stuff yet. So that's my review of Season 2 of Orange is the New Black. I really liked it, as I said before. I'm really excited for Season 3, which will probably come in a year from now, so I have a long time to wait. But House of Cards is coming up, kind of. Not really, but like in the 6 months, 8 months, maybe. Game of Thrones. So that's my review. Like, favorite, comment, and subscribe if you so choose. I'd appreciate it immensely. Make sure to go buy my short story called The Bridge down in the description down here. There will be a link there. And as always, my good people, my name is Nick Pell, and once again, keep on watching.